All right, FIG students. Good afternoon, probably, or maybe good evening by the time you're accessing this. I'm not sure. Here is today's online companion. Don't be afraid, students. I only want to help. Okay, so we've already done live chat. So I don't know how far you've got into today's work, into part A. So anything that you've already done in class, you can skip. But if you haven't done it, let's begin with Article 1, Australia's Expanding Cities, Part 1. I think this is, I think this is page 2 or page 3 of Part A. So let's have a look. We're going to start with a prediction activity. It's always a good idea to survey and predict something about the text. Survey and predict what it's about, what you expect the text to include, and what you think you know about the topic already. So you're going to read a text called Australia's Expanding Cities. And so I'd like you to think about these two questions first. As usual, guys, if you can do this with your classmates, if you can WhatsApp each other or chat on WeChat, there are chat rooms that you can launch, of course. Whatever's useful to you. But if you have to just do it by yourself, okay, that's fine too. So, what do you expect the text to include? And what vocabulary do you expect to see in the text? Post your ideas here. So don't read the text yet. Just those two questions. What do you expect the text to include? The text is called Australia's Expanding Cities. And what kind of vocab do you expect to see in the text? See if you can predict 4 or 5 words. And then later when you read the text, you can see if your predictions were good. Okay. Discuss that or think about that. Post your ideas. Why don't you pause this screencast now and get to that. Okay, welcome back. You will need to download the reading text, and it looks like this. But don't read the whole thing just yet. Let's actually go through the activities one by one, because it's not necessary for you to read all of every word, and that's not what academic reading is about. So let's start with this then. Read the text quickly for the main idea and the structure and complete the following task. What is the topic of the article? What's the central issue? Divide the text into 4 sections by drawing a line between them. Create a heading that summarizes each section, and underline the cohesive devices that helped you. That's what we're going to do. Now let's just think about this for a moment. Read the text quickly for the main idea and the structure. Well, what should you read to get this? For the main idea and the structure. Well, for the main idea, you should be aware that you can get that usually from the introduction. And for the structure, to understand how the information is organized and distributed through the text, that's, I guess, the first sentence, or maybe the first and last sentence of the body paragraphs. So what we're asking you to do now is to skim read. So, topic of the article, the central issue. The best place to find this, of course, is the introduction. Okay, go through those 3 questions. Topic, central issue. Use your skim reading, your reading of the first and maybe the last sentence of each body paragraph, to divide the text into 4 sections. Try and create a heading that summarizes each section. If you can reduce it to just 1 word, that's fantastic. and underline the cohesive devices that helped you. Now, we've already talked about cohesive devices today, so you should be good at identifying what they are. All right, pause now and post your answers here. Okay. All right. So, topic of the article, central issue. Well, I mean, the title says Australia's expanding cities. And that's very much the topic. The central issue, well, it does say in this sentence here, urban sprawl is a major issue, and then it explains what urban sprawl is. Urban sprawl and its consequences have increased dramatically. So, the topic of the article is the fact that Australia's cities are expanding. It's urban sprawl and its consequences. And really, that could be our first section. If we were to put a heading to it, it might be, what is urban sprawl? Or an explanation of urban sprawl, something like that. The next section, we can see the language here. One major cause of urban sprawl, another factor doesn't have to mean cause, although it often does, but another tells us more of the same. So section 2 is causes, the causes of urban sprawl. Section 3, again, it's the first sentence that helps us the most. The effects of urban sprawl, an additional consequence. Now, with 6, the language in the first sentence isn't that obvious. As cities expand, the life and lifestyles of city dwellers also change. Okay. That suggests maybe effects, but it's not that clear and obvious. But the next sentence can result in, the last sentence as a result, the effects of urban sprawl. Okay, not going to look at all the cohesive devices, but referencing, as you can see, I've put a circle around quite a few here. It's meaning Australia's. It is a very urban country, Australia. Some cities. Urban sprawl and its consequences. Its urban sprawls. I'm not going to go through them all. This is something that you should be able to do quite well by now. This process is called urbanization. This process refers to everything in the previous sentence. The other set of cohesive devices, connectors and transition signals. One major cause of. Firstly, in addition to. Another factor. Yet. While. These connectors and transition signals tell the reader what direction the text is going to go in next. It's a good way of helping the reader understand the relationships between the ideas. Okay. All right, why don't we call that the end of part 1? I will see you soon in part 2. All right, see you soon, guys.